So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Business is Great series webinar from the British Chamber of Commerce in the Slovak Republic and our partners UK Trade and Investment. Today's webinar, as I mentioned before, focuses on the opportunity for UK supply chain in Slovakia. We're broadcasting today from a live but very foggy wintry morning here in Bratislava, Slovakia. Firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Christopher Plant. I'm the Chief Executive of the British Chamber of Commerce here in the Slovak Republic. And today we've got some very interesting guests for you. So we're going to start by getting underway now. So if we go to our first slide, just to give you a sort of overview of the format for today's webinar, we're going to guide you through the latest updates on the Slovak automotive market with interesting and factual information. And we're going to start with a short overview introduction of Chamber UKTI services that we provide to British business. Then we'll get straight into the action areas for opportunities for British business. And we'll also be listening and talking through the Slovak automotive sector with our special guest Sario today, the Slovak Investment Trade Agency, and also we'll be hearing legal and advisory company BDO coming in today with their vast experience in automotive. The highlight today, of course, is to hear directly from Jaguar Land Rover, and we're hoping that they'll be able to join us later on as well in the broadcast. So I think it's a really exciting time. You know, obviously the biggest investment in the EU in the last 7 years. So hopefully we'll be able to get that Q&A right at the end for you to answer your questions as well. So if you have any questions as you go along, please type them into your dialog box at the side. And we're going to kick off now with a colleague of mine, International Trade Advisor Bettina Molnarova, who works here in our trade team at the British Chamber of Commerce in the Slovak Republic. Good morning, Bettina.
Good morning, Chris. So I would like to give a short overview of our chamber and summarize the support that is available for British businesses, both from the British Chamber of Commerce in the Slovak Republic and UKTI. We are now a fully accredited Chamber of Commerce, and to help support and enhance British exports, based on UKTI services, we have developed a very hands-on approach. There are 4 main areas in which we offer support. Within market promotion, we highlight the amazing potential for business that Slovakia offers, and which is unfortunately often overlooked. We regularly go to the UK to all regions and promote Slovakia as an export destination, as well as organizing webinars just like today. What is even more interesting though, we can help you enter the market or extend your market share. You give us a description of your target group, and we can provide you with a customized long list of relevant local companies. We can then, together with you, cherry-pick the very best matches. And finally, we approach each company individually, utilizing our Slovak-speaking team.
Okay, super. And I think, Bettina, one of the most important things is just to explain really how we understand British business and what they need and how we can help them.
Sure. Starting with a trade questionnaire to gather in-depth information about your business. And with a thorough understanding of your USPs, we can effectively explain your products to Slovak companies. And once you come over to Slovakia to attend our pre-arranged meetings, you can conveniently use our premises for these. And on top of these services, we can also point you in the right direction when it comes to spreading across the entire CU region with our partner offices.
Great, thanks very much, Bettina, for that. And I think if we're just going to move on quickly now for a quick update of some of the events that will be coming up here in Slovakia, obviously very important time for us in automotive. If we start off with the first one here, Bettina, perhaps if you can give us a quick overview of our British Slovak SME Forum, which will be on construction, property management.
Sure. So all our events are open to any UK business. The closest one will be on the 17th of February here in Bratislava. We are organizing the British Slovak SME Forum with the theme of construction and property management. You will be able to meet here with construction companies established in Slovakia that can give you professional advice on building your facility, or that can supply materials, as well as find out about the best locations for new investors and the pros and cons of each region. Also, a definitely great chance to learn about the newest developments on the JLR plant in Nitra. Last but not least, you can also gain knowledge about the real estate market here in Slovakia and get expert advice on where to build, buy, or rent.
Super, Bettina. Thank you very much for that. And I think with this particular event as well, I mean, if you are an automotive company keen to open a facility here in Slovakia, this definitely could be the event for you. We'll give you all the contact details, of course, later on. Find out from our expert speakers at this event exactly how they can understand the possibilities for construction partners here in the Slovak market. So now we're going to talk a little bit about our automotive trade mission, which is coming up on the 2nd and 3rd of March. So Bettina, could you give us the overview of that, please?
Yes, so between the 2nd and 3rd of March, again in Bratislava, we are organizing our automotive trade mission. It will offer a detailed overview of the automotive industry in Slovakia. There will be an encounter briefing with detailed OEMs introduction and information on the legal environment and recruitment. This will be followed then by a roundtable discussion with key Slovak companies in the automotive sector. And on top of this, there will be a networking reception at the British ambassador's residence. And if this sounds interesting, but you would also like to use the opportunity to have a tailor-made program, we can also arrange one-on-one meetings with potential customers or suppliers for you.
Super great. No, thanks, Bettina. And I think another couple of interesting opportunities are coming up we just wanted to touch base on. And definitely these are the type of events that we can actually put around our services. So when you do come out to the country, we do try to tie it in with some sort of event as well. So you get maximum benefit here too. So Bettina, if you could just give us an overview of these two upcoming events.
Yes, so later in March, the annual Pneumatic conference will take place in central Slovakia, which is organized by the Slovak Automotive Association. And it is an information forum focused on processes improvement and operational effectiveness, determining current trends in the automotive industry. And lastly, in April, the annual Auto Salon Fair will be organized here in Bratislava.
Super. So thank you very much indeed, Bettina. That's great news. And you can see, as we mentioned before, I mean, we have a Slovak team here in the office also, but as you can hear from Bettina, fantastic English skills. I think a great presentation there. So thank you very much, Bettina. So now I would like to move on to our next guest speaker, somebody very important from Slovak Investment Trade Development Agency, Senior Consultant. I'd like to welcome Juraj Michal. Hi, Juraj. Great to see you.
Hi, Christian. Hello, everyone.
Great. So I think obviously straight into our first slide and looking at automotive key sector. I mean, you know, this is the #1 sector in Slovakia. I think you're right. It's down to you now to give us an overview and explain a little bit about why that is.
Yes, well, as everybody knows, Slovakia is very well known for being an automotive superpower for the present time. Today, some of the premium brands are being produced here, and this story began in the 1990s. However, it's not very well known that Slovakia has quite a long tradition in automotive and mechanical engineering, which began well over 30 years ago, 30 years ago, when some of the legendary brands were produced here, maybe not that very well known in Western Europe, but in Czechoslovakia and so on, they were very famous.
Exactly. So you can see from these brands here, of course, these are the ones. I think that I prefer the Porsche Cayenne and the Audi Q7 to be fair. But okay, moving on then now as well. I think obviously one of the main reasons for our webinars and the interest in the Slovak market, Peugeot, Citroën, PSA, we've got Kia, of course, Volkswagen, and now the new OEM starting up. And I think, you know, we're all very excited, and maybe Yuri can give us a little bit of background for that, because obviously you're very key to some of these developments.
Yes, as I mentioned, we all know how strong Slovakia has been in producing cars for the last few years. However, this position has been just confirmed by investment of Jaguar Land Rover, announced to be in a Nitra. So we are all very excited, and Slovakia just confirmed its competitiveness within the region. What I would like to highlight here that negotiations with Jaguar Land Rover were, of course, difficult, but they went quite fast comparing to the other car plants here in Slovakia. And within 10 months, we have confirmed their facility here.
Super. I think it's very much credit goes down to the Slovak government on that as well, and all people involved. So, I mean, fantastic job. So obviously the key sector, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So let's have a look into that. You're right to see what exactly are the reasons for Slovakia being one of the best markets, automotive.
Yes, I'm talking about the key sector, and here I have a proof of my statement. Just to pick up a few key numbers in this regard. For example, 33% of total industrial production comes from automotive industry. Also, 3 car plants at the present time contribute on a Slovak export by 35%. Generally speaking, up to 99% of their production is being exported. In terms of employment, in total number, it's 200,000 people directly or indirectly employed in the automotive industry. That makes over 10% of the overall population, overall economically active people in Slovakia working in automotive industry.
Superb, yeah, very good indeed. So moving into the car production, obviously we've heard very much that the car production per capita is the largest in the world. We've talked about it at times before. And you've got some estimated figures here for 2015.
Yes, we expect to exceed the number of vehicles produced last year, well over 1 million units. This medical number was finally achieved. We are all very excited about this, and we expect in the next few years with the coming of Jaguar and Rover to increase this number, as well as Slovakia confirmed its position, as you mentioned, the world leader in car production per 1,000 inhabitants. We are already as a world leading country in this ranking for a few years, and I believe that next few years will be also our leadership continues.
Yeah, it's quite amazing the figures that we're seeing as well and what's happening. So if we look now at the map of Europe here, obviously you can see Germany there on the left, DE41, then we move over to the right, the blue area, the smaller country there, you can see that's Slovakia, 5.2 million inhabitants. Obviously you can see there Volkswagen, Peugeot, Citroën, Kia, and obviously, of course, now in the future JLR. But you can see around it above Poland, below Hungary, and to the left Czech Republic. And you can see also in Austria there's many automotive companies around. So I guess this is showing a bit more interest in logistics for Slovakia, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I would like to point out here that a huge amount of opportunities came out after 1990s, and many investment of this kind were coming to the whole region of Central and Eastern Europe. I believe we are together with our neighbors very productive. We have very skilled labor force, and based on our tradition coming from mechanical engineering and heavy engineering in the past. It's just to mention that in 2003 there were just 8 car plants in a region of V4, I mean Slovakia, Czech Republic, Poland, and Hungary. At the present time, we have 30 car plants in this region.
Yeah, pretty impressive indeed. Going on to the next one, so 3 world car producers. So obviously we've discussed a couple of them before, Volkswagen, Slovakia, Peugeot, Citroën, and Kia Motors. Please give us the rundown on these.
Yes, each of these car plants is unique in its own certain way. For example, Volkswagen Slovakia, established in 1991 in Bratislava, is the only plant in the world to produce 6 brands under one roof. Maybe to point out, every single Audi Q7 you see in the world was produced in Bratislava. So next time you see it, you will remember. PSA Peugeot Citroën plant in Trnava is the most profitable plant in the whole PSA group worldwide. And Kia in Žilina produced even more engines than cars which are exported abroad. Also, Kia Venga is only produced in Slovakia.
Right, excellent. Moving into the network, you've got here that there's 316 automotive suppliers around, and you can see this is obviously a map of Slovakia. On the left, you'll see Bratislava near the Volkswagen badge there, and of course, where you see the Land Rover, the Aragonian is Nitra, PSA, Peugeot, Citroën. You can see also Kia. So I mean, obviously, since these companies have been established here, there's been a real sort of burst of suppliers. The supply network here is very good indeed. There is still room. So, Jura, if you could give us an overview of this, please.
Yes, I would pick these figures as one of the key reasons why Land Rover choose Slovakia among the other countries. Is it our suppliers network, our developed suppliers network? As you can see, the density is quite high, so they can localize their supplies in a very short time. As you can see, all of these investments made mostly on Western Slovakia, with the completion of the highway where about 50 kilometers are left to be completed to western to eastern part of Slovakia. We see plenty of room in eastern Slovakia, where also it's a huge potential in people with great skills and long tradition in mechanical engineering.
Absolutely. And I think just to sort of put it into context as well, traveling from Bratislava to Košice by car is fairly quick. You can get there within sort of 4 hours or so, I would say, but with the new highways it will be quicker.
Yes, well, it depends how heavy your food is, but you can make it in 4 hours or 4.5 hours. Maybe just to point out, we used to be called the Detroit of the Europe in car production in the past. Well, this investment of Jaguar just confirmed this nickname. However, we enjoyed it before the real city of Detroit went bankruptcy.
Yeah, exactly. So let's imagine it's going to be good here. And I think also from a logistic perspective, Vienna is only 45 minutes away from Bratislava. You can be in Prague in the Czech Republic within 3.5 hours, and you can be in Budapest in Hungary within 2.5 hours also. So you can see the central location from Slovakia is quite excellent indeed. So moving on again, so a few success stories. I mean, R&D is obviously a major point of focus for the government as well. So give us some R&D success stories, please, Joran.
Yes, as I mentioned, Detroit nickname is not very popular anymore. However, we are very glad to see in the last decade that these investments are bringing more value added into Slovakia. I mean, many companies today which came to Slovakia just to establish production plant, manufacturing plant here, just decided to transfer their R&D activities here. We have one great advantage, what we call German quality for Slovak price, and we realize that we are no longer the cheapest country in Central and Eastern Europe in terms of labor because we cannot compete with countries such as Romania or Bulgaria. However, we believe that this is a natural development of our economy. We take it as the opportunity, as the challenge, and we are offering our skills maybe in more in higher value added projects.
Yeah, indeed. Some of these companies, very interesting. We were just meeting with CEIT just in the last week, but I mean, some of these companies are really impressive indeed and coming up with some fantastic solutions. But there is a market out there. I think the idea today is to give British business an opportunity to engage with us and to make sure through UKTI, through the British Chambers of Commerce Network, that you do come out and have a look at this. So we're going to move into a little bit on the education area. Just a couple of slides quickly, Uri. So maybe you could just give me the introduction of this and what exactly you mean by education.
Yes, such a strong sector for a small country as is Automotive Slovakia requires quite a big labor force. It is a challenge for us. However, we try to think big, think for the future, and secure the future automotive. Last September came into force a new law about the dual education. We expect quite a lot from this scheme. It provides opportunity for the students and for the companies. First of all, for the companies to educate, train their own future employees, and for the students to go through their practical education in the professional facility, not mentioning tax benefits for companies joined this scheme. At present time, we know that well over 200 companies already joined this scheme, and the number of students is already in thousands, and it's on the rise. Also, we would like to we keen on the development of our suppliers network. We try to see the opportunity for them and to enhance their potential to advance on a higher level of supply chain. That means to interconnect them directly to higher tiers customers, and perhaps to OEM by educating them, by providing them new certification required, and by identifying their potential, how they can manage it.
Okay, thanks very much for that. Moving on to investment incentives, and I think this is something very interesting for British companies to find out exactly what type of projects that are eligible for the investments and for our future income.
Yes, investment incentives are provided in Slovakia as they are provided in, I believe, any other country. In Europe, these incentives are very natural and institutional tool in the European Union. We have recognized 4 types of projects which are able to be supported from industry, shared service center, technology center, and tourism, providing opportunity to receive incentives in the form of tax relief, direct cash grant, or contribution on new jobs.
Okay, so obviously the eligible project, I mean, land building is very important, new machinery, technologies, equipment. And then if we go on to the next slide, you've got an overview here of different minimum investment amounts here for the country.
Yes, minimum investment amount is calculated based on a regional difference between the regions. As you can see, Bratislava region is excluded from the scheme, and the other regions are divided based on their regional unemployment level.
Right, so the grey area on the left is the West, where the Bratislava area and all that. The grey is the first part, and then you mentioned carrying on with the other areas which you're trying to get some investment into, sort of eastern.
Yes, this gives you overview how Slovakia, despite being so small, experienced quite a large regional differences. The red regions are the regions with a quite high unemployment rate, which also gives the opportunity for the companies to find a higher number of qualified labor force.
Okay, no, that's good. And I think moving on into investment aid and the requirements. So you've got a listing here as well, which is very informative.
Yes, maybe this is something for future reference. We are very happy to provide for your consultancy regarding this. However, just to briefly mention the minimum requirements for the being eligible to receive state aid is 200 aka 3, 5, or 10 million euro based on unemployment level in the region, as well as the share of new technology has to be at least some percentage based also on unemployment level, with the minimum creation of the new jobs at least 10, with the lowest at least developed in the least developed regions and 40 in other regions of Slovakia.
Right, so this is concentrating on the industrial projects, of course. I think you mentioned R&D is very important as well.
Yes, R&D has a very special scheme and a very special types of projects. Technology centers are being supported with a much lower requirements for in terms of minimum investments or creation of new jobs. Getting to what state can offer for the companies, this is maintained by European Union, calculated based on a regional GDP, regional productivity of the region. So it is Western Slovakia up to 25% out of the eligible cost, the rest of Slovakia 35% of the eligible cost. As I mentioned, as you mentioned before, it's land, buildings, technology, etc.
Okay, great. And maximum intensities of investment aid. Got another map here as well, Western, Central, and Eastern Slovakia.
Yes, these intensities, as you see, are for 3 types of form: cash flow and income tax relief, and municipal real estate for discounted price. These forms are to be combined as the will of the applicant is. And moving to the next slide, we have 4th type of form. The incentive is contribution for 1 job, which is calculated based on a regional unemployment rate.
Okay, and then you've got actually the investment aid approval process, and you were telling me how this has really been speeded up in the last year or so, and this is working a lot better than it used to. Is that right?
Exactly. In the last few months, we have a few amendments of the investment aid law. We are very happy to really shorten the time of the approval process, which is quite crucial for applicant, for the company which are deciding based on the investment incentives, whether they would or would not establish the facility here. The great advantage of this scheme is also that company can start to work on the project on the very same day or the day after they submit their application to Ministry of Economy and Works. By works, the building process, starting the construction work, maybe invoicing the machinery.
Right, so there's no time delay at all now, so it's all put together. So, and you've got just in the last slide here as well, the state support R&D tax deduction, which you were just mentioning before as well. So maybe just quickly summarise this and.
Yes, actually this scheme is quite new. This is something different than its incentive scheme, and we try to promote it a lot. This maybe gives you an overview that the focus of the Slovak government is support more R&D activities in the region is provided for each and every one company, no matter from which sector or no matter from which region, Bratislava or Košice, and it gives the opportunity to deduct up to 25% combined with more percentage from different types of costs spent on R&D activities from tax basis. Really simple scheme.
Okay, super. Well, you're right. Thank you very much indeed for that in-depth presentation. Obviously, you can get more information directly from Jura and his team. Please come through us, straight to Sario also, but we're all here for you to help you as much as we can. So thank you very much again, Jura. It's been great to have you here. We're going to move on now to our next presenter. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to a lady that I've known for a few years now, and she's the partner at BDO, which you may or may not know is the 5th largest advisory network worldwide. So please welcome today Mrs. Eva Belkova. Hello, Eva.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me here.
Very nice to see you. So Eva, we're going to go straight into the first slide now, and I think if you could tell us a little bit about the International BDO Network, that will give us an idea where we are.
Okay. BDO as an international network is present in more than 150 countries worldwide, and we employ more than 60,000 professionals. And as such, we have been established in Slovakia in 2003, and currently we have more than 60 professional staff and partners, and we have more than 4 million euros revenue yearly. And past 3 years were for us very the most dynamic in regards to our growth, which we are very happy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the growth has been pretty good in the last years, and I think also, obviously, as an automotive expert company as well, I see on the next slide here you've got your services, all the services you provide. Maybe you just give us a quick overview of those services.
As an advisory firm here in Slovakia, we of course focus on audit, tax, business services. For us, it means outsourced accounting and payroll. Plus, we are very active in consulting that I would like to focus on.
Exactly. So let's just go in. I think, as we mentioned before, I mean, consulting is the main reason that we've got you in today. So we've got on the next slide here the expertise and obviously working very closely with Sario and the government and also the automotive companies. Maybe Eva, you can give us the overview of exactly what you're doing with that.
So I am actually very happy that Sario had been presenting before me and told everything about how they can help. And our role is also had been always here to help potential investors into Slovak market to come here and to make their life easier. And how we did it, we started a cooperation with Sario in 2003 when Peugeot Citroën was coming into Slovak market. Then it followed with Kia, Hyundai, and Jaguar Ford. How we actually helped those investors was that we have helped to establish a special limited liability company which had purchased the land, reconciled all the purchase deeds, and actually helped to build the infrastructure. And then as a whole package, we prepared all the documentation for the future investor into the data room so that they can go through the documentation and prepare or make their own due diligence there.
Exactly. So I mean, what you're saying really is you're providing a really complete process from from the appraisal at the beginning and all the way through the whole processes with advisory as well. And I think if we go to the next slide, which I think is, as you mentioned, when you're talking about state aid, which you were just discussing, quite important overview of the services that you're actually giving as well. So maybe you could explain a little bit about these services.
These services, as I have mentioned, are followed by the providing of accounting services, of course, of providing of preparation of data documents, as I have mentioned, communication and presentation of the company activities and results of the company to strategic investors, and providing various tax advisory services in regards to VAT treatment, coordination with negotiation process, and support during financial closing process and preparation of financial statements.
Okay, very good indeed. So I think then we were talking also about the OEMs. You've obviously done a lot of work for the OEMs, but maybe you can talk a little bit about some of these sub-suppliers and what you're doing for them currently.
Currently, so our work doesn't finish actually when we prepare all the documents for the future investors, but we of course stay with them later on. These are some of the examples of our cooperation for the sub-suppliers in Slovakia. Sub-suppliers I mean into automotive industry, and these examples are, for example, Johnson Controls, for which we provide audit, FEMA, for which we provide also audit services, Notec financial and due diligence services, and for Sargumi, we provide tax advisory services.
Okay, so I mean you're working with a lot of the companies here as well, and I guess you're finding quite a lot of companies quite often need the same sort of thing. So if you're very experienced in that area, it does give a great overview. So I think just coming on to the last page then, Eva, I mean your contact details are here. We can see where you are, and also your colleagues are here too. All the partners at BDO here. So I think again, please don't hesitate to contact Eva and her team. So thank you very much for the overview.
And we are very happy. We are very interested to work with British companies that may be coming or thinking about coming into market here in Slovakia. We can provide all the solutions that these businesses require, and we are more than happy to help you to come to Slovakia.
Exactly, so I think that's a great overview. So Eva, thank you very much indeed for coming today and presenting. That's great. So we're going to now, hopefully, with the aid of our great technology here, go to see if we can hear from Nick Samson, direct from Jaguar Land Rover in Birmingham today. Nick, are you there?
Yes, good morning, Chris. Hear you loud and clear, thank you. I've just small correction. We're in Coventry, our Coventry HQ, just down the road.
Perfect, indeed. Not too far away then, indeed. So super well done. Great to have you here again. And Nick's the senior purchasing manager from JLR. We've met quite a few times out here in Slovakia already. So Nick, I think a very busy time for you guys completely, but very exciting times.
Absolutely, Chris. Yeah, let me just provide a short introduction to both myself and my role, and I guess the project overall. So I guess in terms of me, I'm probably what you'd call a gnarled old purchasing and automotive professional. So all my career in engineering and manufacturing, and last 15 years at JLR, working within the procurement function. I mean, I guess it's an incredibly exciting industry to work in generally, not least because there's a real tangible product at the end of all of our efforts and endeavours. And, withstanding that, I've had lots of interesting assignments, many of them global, but there's no doubt that this project is the one that most excites me, and at the same time is providing most challenges for me, as Chris well knows. So again, I know we've talked about it often through the course of this call already, but we were very excited to make our announcement via a press release before Christmas of our intent to invest around £1 billion initially, so a really significant sum of money, into Slovakia to establish a manufacturing facility in Nitra with an initial capacity of 150,000 cars, and there's no doubt that we would like to grow and develop that capacity and facility further, and you know, that will be subject to future studies. We've worked incredibly closely with the Slovakian government team and with all of the government agencies and bodies in Slovakia, and you know, I think we've been a very collaborative team with one common goal. So I think, again, from KLR, we thank everybody in Slovakia for the support in terms of our confirming the investment. I guess, you know, having got the initial agreement in place, we're going to be moving, and we are moving, and I'll talk some more about that, to the delivery phase of the project. And it's clear, I mean, this plant will complement our existing facilities in the UK. It's a really key enabler to supporting our global growth strategy, and very much on a competitive and a sustainable basis over in Central Europe there. In terms of my role, so I'm coordinating all of the purchasing work streams associated with the project. So that means both facility build and fit outs, all of what I would call non-production purchasing aspects, but also the part sourcing. Now, that sounds like a very grand role and title, and in essence, I won't be doing any of the sourcing, because all of the sourcing will be led by the centre strategic teams here in the UK. So the production purchasing teams have their supply strategies, and the non-production purchasing teams equally have their supply strategies, which clearly have been opened up now to start to embrace the opportunity in this part of the world. We want to maximise that opportunity, and at the same time encourage UK companies to potentially locate to Slovakia with us as well. So initially I'll be based here in the UK. I expect to be here for another 6 months or so as we you know, get ourselves organised and close out some of the really important early sourcing activities. And then me and my family are very much looking forward to relocating to Slovakia around the summertime, where I'll take up the position of head of purchasing.
That's great.
Okay, Chris. Absolutely. I was just going to update on the sort of journey so far, and I think we'll have some questions after this. But if I just sort of summarise where we've got to, and I guess the key milestone for everybody's note is to work back from is September 2018, job one. So the first, you know, true production cars will be rolling off the lines in Nitra in September 2018, clearly preceded by a whole bunch of prototype builds, which will kick off from early 18. So from my standpoint, we've got to have some really good procurement solutions in place, ready to deliver, you know, ideally before the end of 2017. We're all particularly excited about this project in many ways, and certainly from a manufacturing perspective. It's the first opportunity we've had to really lay down a new greenfield integrated manufacturing facility for some time. We've expanded hugely on our existing UK footprint, as many of you will know, and also opened up new facilities in other parts of the world, from China to Brazil and India. But this is the first opportunity to put a really, well, to support an investment of this scale, and really trying to establish a world-class manufacturing facility on a greenfield site with very environmentally sound credentials, I should add. There are, in terms of where we are around sourcing and engagement with suppliers, and you know, please be aware, none of you have missed any opportunity so far, but there are some suppliers that we've already nominated and are working with, particularly in the facility designer and project management space. So that activity is already pretty well progressed. We are also completing the final waves of our RFQs for the technologies, so our body in white, our trim and final facilities, paint actually is already in place. But the really key aspect for us at the moment is the construction project. So we held a very successful event in the centre of Bratislava 2 weeks back now, just struggling to think exactly when that was, 2 weeks back. So where there was at least 45 companies. I don't know whether some of the companies that supported that event are online now, but we were really pleased to welcome 45 companies to that event. and we're working through now the packages of procurement and RFQ for that construction project with the next steps to move to a proper RFQ in that area. Facilities management will be really key. I mean, this is clearly a very significant manufacturing facility. We're working with the Slovakian team around the opportunity for an industrial park somewhere located within the Nitra strategic park area. There'll be a whole bunch of site service and facilities management companies that we're going to want to engage with, and absolutely we'd like to expand our discussions and our opportunities to tender to a new suppliers, whether that be UK companies keen to invest in Slovakia, or again existing Slovakian or Central European suppliers. So that's, I guess, summarises probably the largest or the greater activity in the non-production purchasing area. From a production part standpoint, we're just getting into that now. So we're working with our leadership team within the production purchasing area to assess and to map out our sourcing plans, timelines, strategies, etc. My team are enabling a lot of that activity with good benchmarking data and information that we've received from the team at Sario and from Chris's team and from all of our contacts in Slovakia, including the embassy there as well, to help us understand better what the sourcing opportunity is. And I think a number of the speakers have said it, the landscape in Slovakia, this is part of the reason we're coming. There's a really mature automotive supply chain and manufacturing supply chain already there and established in that part of the world. We're just hoping to tap into that and help you guys expand and gain some benefit from our investment as well. So in summary, an awful lot of activity there. I'm kept extremely busy through all of this, but it's incredibly enjoyable. We're working very hard with our partners in Slovakia, as we've said before. So Chris and the chamber team there, and I've had Peter Cracky on the phone, and the team from Sario as well. So MH Investor and another group of people we're working closely with. Everybody's been really supportive. We're all here to help with one common goal, which is for us to I guess launch a world-class manufacturing facility in Slovakia, producing cars to a world-class standard by the end of 2018. So Chris has my contact details. I've not sort of presented any slides as such in this webinar, but Chris and I and the team and Peter meet very regularly, and we are collating a supplier database, to register all any company's interest. And trust me, we will get to you. And if we don't, feel free to either rattle my cage or Chris's cage directly.
Great,
okay, Chris.
Thanks ever so much for that, Nick. No, it's really important to hear what's going on, and thanks for that great overview. I think it's really useful for all of the people here to understand. And as you mentioned before, this connects a company at the moment. We've got a survey out there where people can register with us, and then obviously Peter Cracky, myself from UKTI and the Chamber here, we're going to collect this information together. We're obviously working very closely with UKTI in the UK as well to make sure that we don't miss any opportunities for British business. And I think it's a good way to go. Just probably, Nick, just one thing. I mean, you did mention opportunities for British business, so I mean, you're quite keen on obviously helping us and looking with these people. And as you said before, I think people just have to be patient. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And I think what we're doing, Chris, is again working with the team in Slovakia to develop a prospectus. So perhaps an overarching summary of our project. I think we've heard today some information around the state aid process and where particularly attractive areas look in terms of that map and that landscape. So our intent is to prepare something which we will happily share with any British companies interested in coming to Slovakia and working with us.
No, that's superb indeed. And I mean, and the questions have started coming in. Obviously, we'll go to them in a second. But just people are asking perhaps if there's a possibility of the timing to be noted. So I know that in the event, in the construction event, you had an overview of sort of rough time plans. I mean, is that something that you're able to give out yet, or do we have to sort of talk with companies on the NDA and maybe get them to become involved on that level, because it's always possible too?
Yeah, there's always a balance to strike here, but you know, between being able to offer really good information and backgrounds to the project versus obviously some of the confidential information that I can't share. But it's fair to say that we're going to really push hard, and it's critical to us that we're ready to produce those first cars in September 18. I think from a construction project timeline, I talked about that being pretty critical path at the moment. Certainly, we're looking to start the groundworks and the actual construction project through the summer of this year, if that helps to give a bit of perspective. The parts procurement sourcing will take place throughout this year and into the first quarter of next year. And I guess once we've got those construction tenders or those construction sourcing agreements placed, contracts placed, we'll then move to the next phase of facility design, facility fit out and all of the, I guess what we call facilities management, all of the services that are going to be required to support a plant of this scale post that. But I would expect that to be taking place through 2017, I guess, primarily.
Exactly. No, I think it's a good background. We've got the connector company just up on the screen at the moment where people can log in. Obviously, come back to us for info at bspc.sk, and I'm joined here as well now with Peter Crackley. So thanks, Nick. We'll come back to you in a second, but really good overview, everybody. But Peter's over a colleague from you from UKTI. Welcome, Peter.
Good morning, Chris. Hello, everybody. I'd like to say a few words or brief introduction of UKTI in Central Europe. I suppose most of companies from the UK know UKTI, but they may not know that there is also Central European UKTI network. It consists of 9 countries from Austria, Bulgaria, Croatia, Czech Republic, and so on. And from April this year, 2 more countries will join the network, so it will be also Serbia and Herzegovina. We work on several priority sectors. One of them includes advanced manufacturing, and in this field is also belongs also automotive, which is a very important sector in the region. As Jura from Sario already mentioned, there are many automotive OEMs and suppliers in the region. Overall turnover is around 118 billion pounds. So you can see that it's a really big, important sector in the region. It employs about 600,000 people, and around 3.6 million vehicles are produced in the region. If you are interested in working with my colleagues from other Central European countries, you can see on the following slide contact details. So even though we were listening webinar or presentation about Slovakia, there are wider opportunities in the region. So if you are interested, please contact my colleagues from other countries.
No, thanks very much for that, Peter. And I think as Peter said, so UKTI obviously all the way across the network, across the region in CE, 10 countries. So please be clear to contact those guys. But coming back now, we've got some question and answers, so I'm going to obviously go through a few things as well. So Nick, bringing you back in again, we've got Peter here, and obviously you're on, everybody's here as well, Eva. But I mean, just in general, obviously the key questions are going to be going towards JLR. But Nick, I've got a question from Roy, UKTI in the south of England. He's just asking, can we mention UK companies who are looking for Slovak partners via supply chain? Are we, I think the answer there with Roy is, I mean, to be honest, Nick, I mean, as we said before, if we go through the survey, we're going to find out all of these companies are. I've spoken with Roy before as well, and I know that we'll be able to plug in. So I think from your side, Nick, you're just happy to hear from everybody and see what they've got to offer, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Yeah, we have very much an open door and opening listening approach to this at the moment, and um, obviously we will have to be quite selective as we get into the final throes, and we'll be looking for companies that can deliver on all of our really key requirements. But very much at the moment, we're just interested to hear from anybody that's really very interested in the project and can offer something tangible to it.
Exactly, and I think as we said before, and Roy, with all of the international trade advisors and the companies that are located in the UK, fill out that survey, get the information across, and Peter Cracky and myself will be sharing it with Nick and his team, creating that database. So coming up for another one, Nick, we've got how much of the supply chain would be regionally located, so locally to Nitra? I mean, I guess that's kind of a question that's a bit of a, I'm just going to throw it out there, I probably know what the answer is, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to commit to a kind of a percentage based on a bill of material content, but I mean, frankly, there's no specific target. We will take decisions based on the business case. It will make a lot of sense, I would say. There will certainly be a high proportion of commodities which are required to be delivered sequence, so on a just-in-time basis, and with the kind of signal window or scheduling window that automotive companies provide to support that process, it will be a prerequisite that suppliers are close enough to be able to support that timing. And equally, frankly, as I've said previously, the part of the key rationale and driver to go to Slovakia is the maturity of the supply base, and we recognise there's a finite capacity there at the moment, but we're very much hoping that, as I say, both UK and Slovak companies and other Central European countries will see this as a significant opportunity to potentially grow their capacity and their footprint, and obviously their turnover and profitability levels hopefully as well. So I would expect a considerable proportion of our bill of material to be sourced fairly close to Nitra.
Okay, super. No, that's great. And I think, talking about UKTI in the UK, obviously we've got Pete West and Andy Smith located in Birmingham, taking a lot of information there as well, so they're good people to get in contact with. Obviously, Roy Fowler, who's been doing a lot of work in the south there as well. I mean, obviously, one of the main questions is, there's obviously many UK companies that can't really afford to move out. I think this is where, we're helping SME businesses here as well. They're looking for local partnerships. These obviously a lot of the companies that we are sourcing here to try and find these partners for these companies. So I think a lot of the British companies can and will be looking for these partnerships here. So we can actually set up with that to help you with JLR. So I think that's quite good. And I think the people, we just want to say to the people on the webinar is that we are just making sure that UKTI in the UK, the right channels to come through to get here to speak to us as well. So, and another question for you, Nick, as well is, for instance, okay, I know we've talked about the support of some of our trade missions and some of the things we'll be doing in the future as well, Nick, and obviously with our upcoming construction seminar, I know we spoke with Callum in the UK, and JLR and yourselves, the trade mission in March. I mean, I know you're very busy indeed, and you've said already that you're trying to support us as much as you can. So Sean Downey in the UK has asked us if you're going to be attending the trade mission in March. I think we talked about that. We've got to discuss that at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah, I clearly will be looking to support that event, whether it's myself in person or one of the team. We just need to look at, but it will be our intention to try and support that, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, to be fair, I think, Nick and his team are very, very busy, as you can imagine, setting up a whole new facility of such a huge magnitude. I think everybody needs to be a little bit patient. We are doing the best we can to get the information out. We've got to sympathise and be sympathetic to Nick to make sure, but, Nick is committed to meeting with Peter, UKTI, and the Chamber here. We're meeting as much as we can to just talk about opportunities, and by all means, you will all be the first to know once something is out there, but just fill in the forms, get the things coming into us, and use the international trade advisors in the UK, come through UKTI, make sure that you come directly here to the Chamber of Commerce. So we're all ready there to take any questions and help you with anything else at all. So Nick, have you got anything sort of further to add? We've got one more question I've got here. just people talking about plastic injection molding. Somebody's already invested in a plant in Košice. Is that geographically close enough to be considered for the JLR plant? I mean, you know, these are getting in-depth questions, obviously, but I mean, just
it absolutely is. As I say, Chris, at this stage, we're very interested in talking to all potential partners, whether existing JLR suppliers contemplating JVs, partnerships in Slovakia, or standalone facilities, or existing suppliers within that territory. It's as I say, yes, time is precious at the moment, but equally getting a really good understanding of the sourcing opportunities for us is key for me and my guys. So we welcome all of your interest.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Nick, thank you again very much. We're just going to draw to a close now. 2 slides just to go, but thank you ever so much for joining us today, Nick. It's been a pleasure, and best of luck for the future.
Thank you, Chris. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Great. So just a quick reminder of our events now that are coming up. British Slovak SME Forum, Construction and Property Management, 17th, 18th of February. A key one, if you're coming out to Slovakia, you want to be part of the information to find out from our construction companies how to manage your facility. Very, very interesting information within this as well. Hopefully we'll, as Nick mentioned, be having some JLR support there too. Automotive trade mission is a key one, 2nd and 3rd of March. Contact myself, Peter Kracke, or our team here to get on with that. And then, of course, other exhibitions that are coming up soon as well. So I just want to say thank you very much for everybody involved today. Sario, BDO, of course, Nick Samson as well, Peter Kracke, and thank you to all of you listeners as well. You can hear the archived webinar recording of this underneath our business portal. You can see the link there, you'll get it soon. Everybody who wants a copy of this presentation can get one. We'll be sending it out to you very soon. So thank you once again for joining us, and we'll hope to speak to you again soon and let you know when the next webinar or update will be soon. Thank you. Goodbye.